Hi, it's Eric Santa Maria, the former host of the Wrestling Roundtable, back when we did that show on the internet on Go Fight Live and specifically YouTube. Hopefully, you can still look up those shows on YouTube and enjoy them. I do still tweet about wrestling and write about it on Facebook, Twitter at Rest Roundtable. That's still going on. I certainly was tweeting last night with the unprecedented, I would say, mind blowing return of Brock Lesnar to the UFC, even if it's a one off, still. Hopefully, we find out who his opponent is tomorrow. But I am just going to lose my mind because I am going to UFC 200. I saw him fight at UFC 100. Amazing. 100 pay per views later, he's going to fight in Vegas again, and I'm going to be there. I'm going to lose my mind. And it's really just been a great time to be an MMA fan. UFC's just churning out great card after great card. Bellator, not so much. But if you're a wrestling fan, I don't know. I guess if you're a Roman Reigns fan or you like So Bad They're Good skits by the Hardys, somehow TNA's still around. But I am actually enjoying Lucha Underground. I haven't seen a ton of it, but from what I've seen, it's been enjoyable and definitely unique and different, and I like that. And NXT specials, the one coming up Wednesday is hopefully not going to be the last one. There's some rumors with all this brand split stuff again, but NXT's, at least the specials, just been really good, and I really enjoy those. And you'll see me write about that still on the Roundtable Facebook fan page and the group. So hopefully you've been joining us there in the, I guess, a little over 3 years since we've done the Wrestling Roundtable. But hopefully you've noticed that there's been some activity on the YouTube account lately. And I'm sure you're wondering what's causing all that. Well, I've been trying to upload a match a week lately, and I hope you've been enjoying those matches and been uploading some classic shows. Someone on our Facebook group pointed out that next year, I guess it's a year and a half away, we're not there yet, but next year it'll be 10 years since we started the Wrestling Roundtable, and that's ridiculous. I can't believe that. But hopefully you've been enjoying some of those retro shows, the old shows re-edited for YouTube and re-uploaded in full. But I know that some of you have been leaving comments like, bring the roundtable back, we wish the roundtable was back, or you at least want to hear some of our thoughts about wrestling and MMA in 2016. And I'm not here to say that we're coming back. It's really not a possibility right now. We're all too busy. We're all in different areas and states even. So it's not that the Wrestling Roundtable itself is coming back. But I am here to announce that I am going to be starting a podcast. It's called A Few Words with Eric Santa Maria. It's going to be a weekly podcast. We're going to be available on SoundCloud and iTunes, and the link will be right underneath the description here for you to click on. And the first episode is called Not Quite the Wrestling Roundtable, and it's called that because while it's not exactly going to be the roundtable you know and love from years past where we all sit down in front of the camera and we talk about the latest topics, the future, the past, everything, there is still going to be a ton of pro wrestling and MMA talk on the new A Few Words podcast. A lot of the names that you remember from the Wrestling Roundtable will be back, but I'm going to expand it. I don't want to be confined to one genre, and I go into depth about that, into detail about that in the new podcast. It's going to explain what it's about, going to explain the beginning of the Wrestling Roundtable, some of our thoughts about doing the show, and the reasons why it ended. I think you'll understand by the time we get to 2011 why I was so burnt out. There were some major and traumatic events that happened in my life that after burning myself out really in 2010, I'd start questioning, what am I doing this for? What's the purpose? Why am I killing myself for all this? And plus, I got into MMA after that, mainly training. I was briefly a manager of a school, and I really couldn't have dedicated the time that Roundtable would have needed if even everyone was available, and I don't even know if they were then, to do the roundtable. So I hope you understand that the roundtable isn't quite coming back, but you enjoyed the show. If you support it, the possibilities are endless. You can still get your fix of my opinions, Rodney Lawrence, the other people from the roundtable that you remember. So I look forward to talking to you again here on YouTube. Don't unsubscribe. There's going to be more activity and things coming in the future. In fact, all the Wrestling Roundtable accounts are going to be accessible and active. iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, Twitter, Facebook, here on YouTube. All of our archives are going to be accessible, and maybe some new stuff going forward. And speaking of new stuff going forward, look the show up on Facebook, give it a like, follow the show's Twitter at A Few Words with ES. Click the link below and join us on our new venture. I hope you enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to doing this podcast, A Few Words with Eric Santamaria. But before I wrap it up here, a few words on Muhammad Ali, who died a few days ago. Like I said, it's been a big weekend, and that was something that really touched my heart and really affected things because I was a big Muhammad Ali fan, still am. I never got to meet the man. I really wish I could have. And I'm not necessarily going to say anything different or profound or necessarily off the wall compared to what other people have been saying about how he's a hero and an inspiration, but he really is. And by the way, that phantom punch that he threw, no. Watch, there's a documentary out there. It's actually not boxing's fixed and the usual suspects and this, that, but it's so fast that you can barely even see it going in regular speed. So Ali, especially for a heavyweight, was an innovator, a character, someone who was just a complete trendsetter in the boxing world. And as a big combat sports and MMA fan, been a fan of Ali for quite a while. And you don't really see people stand up for their principles much anymore, especially when at the height of his career, he was the heavyweight champion and the government took away his license to box. Cost him, I think, 3 years of his prime because he stood up for something. He refused to go to the Vietnam War because he didn't believe in it. And he didn't care about being labeled un-American or anything like that. Now, look at him. He's a national symbol of peace because he stood up for something he believed in. And you have to really admire that. So wanted to at least say a couple words, or in this case, a few words about Muhammad Ali before wrapping this up. I can't believe he's not in the WWE Hall of Fame yet. Obviously, being the Wrestling Roundtable, he had a big influence on the wrestling world. A lot of wrestlers took from him and he took from them. Gorgeous George, Freddie Blassie, vice versa. And he was in and out of the wrestling world many times. So hopefully he'll get inducted in the next year. And hopefully you join myself and others in the podcast world. A Few Words with Eric Santamaria. See you then, and see you again.